Recently, my grandmother passed away. It wasn't a surprise, so it wasn't as sad, or so I thought. I didn't cry very much, and I tried my hardest not to cry in front of other people. Okay. As I started to write my talk, I realized I wanted to understand more about why I wasn't okay with these feelings in front of others. Now, I'm not saying I've never cried in front of others before. That would be a lie. I used to cry a lot in public, well, as public as school gets. I don't remember exactly why, but I do remember the feeling of disgust that would often occur as soon as I started crying. I was ashamed and afraid of what people would think of me. A bit later, I started dance classes. That was fun, and I made some good friends through it. However, I'm a perfectionist, and this struggle definitely started to manifest as we started to learn more complicated movements and sets. I would become frustrated with myself for not being able to do the waltz correctly. And so I told myself, and because of these feelings that I didn't like crying in front of other people, I told myself I was not going to cry, even if it was because something physically hurt. I told myself I was not going to cry because ballerinas would hurt worse, or I was not going to cry or be sad because children across the ocean were dying of starvation. And while these problems are true and they are problems, it doesn't make my problems meaningless. Up until around this point in my life, I looked at crying and feeling sad as something even barely acceptable, even in private. At this point, I want to take a moment and address the tone of this talk so far. I realize that it may seem dark and semi-irrelevant. I would agree that though it may seem a bit dark, I would argue that it's extremely relevant, especially in today's society. And I choose to look at these moments in my life as positive, growing experiences rather than a negative light. I also want to address the main theme so far. I've talked a lot about my own stories, but what I want you to take away from this talk is to understand what you're feeling and, to put it bluntly, feel the feels. And knowing this, I want to challenge you. For the next week, starting tomorrow, pick a time during the day to reflect on what's happened so far and how you felt. You could maybe do it right before bed, or wake up early the next morning and go outside with some coffee or tea and spend some quiet time reflecting on the previous day and how you felt and what made you feel that way. Understanding yourself and your emotions can help you feel better, and you might be surprised. Thank you.